This video presentation has been classified by the ABC as M. It contains material that is not recommended for persons under 15 years.
As well as this vodcast, you can watch Good Game on ABC2 every Tuesday night at 8:30 or download it at abc.net.au/goodgame.
Hello and welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers, by gamers. I'm Junglist.
And I'm Barjo. Healthy serving of gamage on the menu today, John Gurnacles.
Yes, isn't it, Badger Million?
Franchise fans will be wetting their pants. The pistol-toting dame gets a brand new game with Tomb Raider anniversaries.
We'll be talking to the developer of Call of Duty 4 and put some raffle on your waffle with Guitar Hero 2.
But Junglist, we're getting ahead of ourselves. News. Sony Online Entertainment have revealed plans for a new MMO, The Agency, for PC and the PS3. The game will feature PvP Anywhere deathmatch with some role-playing elements. Players can choose to play for the Bond-like agency Unite or the mercenary group Paragon. Later in the game, players will be able to create their own agency, which can fight for world domination. The game is set in real-world European cities such as Prague. The agency is in production, but there's no release date as yet.
In more Sony news, the Church of England has asked the company to apologize for the inclusion of a digitally rendered Manchester Cathedral as a battleground in Resistance: Fall of Man.
Any cathedral, any house of God, to be used as a context for a game about killing people, I think is just so inappropriate and offensive.
The Bishop of Manchester, the Right Reverend Nigel McCulloch, described the decision to feature the city's cathedral as highly irresponsible, especially in the light of Manchester's history of gun crime.
I think it's unbelievable. I mean, it's a company which has normally got a good reputation. I can't think why they never asked us at this cathedral if they could use the inside.
The church said Sony did not seek appropriate permission to use the cathedral. It's thought it obtained the images from a free online virtual tour. Resistance: Fall of Man has sold more than 1 million copies worldwide and is the biggest selling game for the PS3.
Good game! Go, Captain Planet, go! Well, gamers, can you guess the game for this week? It features two of my favorite things, pirates and space. Answer at the end of the show.
And the winner of the best review of the week goes to... Good game!
This is gonna be good. I can feel it. Left 4, long, and right 4.
Rally racing games have been coming out for years with little innovation, and in fact, racing games in general. The good ones improve on the graphics, driving system, and the amount of options available.
Colin McRae Dirt is no exception, and it succeeds in all three of these things. It aims for high realism, and racing fans don't really need anything fantastically different in their games.
All the normal rally racing modes are there, including a few extras like Big Rigs, whee!
And buggies, whee!
Despite its hardcore realism and daunting car-tuning options, the actual game is just grasping the science of 3 buttons. Proper use of the accelerator, brake, and slide brake will separate the arcade racing boys from the rally realist men.
Left 3 into right 4. And right 5, left 5. Right 5 into left 3.
Anyone who's not a veteran will get halfway through the game and hit a rock. Literally. As the difficulty gets harder, you'll find yourself restarting a lot more until you know the track's down pat. One wrong turn and you're easily overtaken. One small crash can be terminal injury to your car and you're instantly out of the race.
Speaking of the tracks, there are some pretty fun ones later on in the game, and you don't mind racing on them over and over again to get a podium position. The option is there as well before every race to set the difficulty easier if you need to.
But the difficulty setting is actually a disguised gambling function as well. The harder you go, the more money you earn.
Some tracks require you to use the multitude of car tweaking options available to you, and some don't. I know some guys get a kick out of adjusting their suspension, but you should be able to decide what level of depth you want to play the game without being penalized. As it stands, gamers that know more about driving physics will definitely be advantaged, which adds to the unforgiving nature of the game.
Most tracks have multiple surfaces, so it is a bit of a give and take situation anyway, but it does allow you to tweak the car to your own style of racing.
Yeah, apart from that, there's not a whole lot that needs to be said. There's a purity to rally racers that give it the ability to attract new players to the genre, something that street racers can't do. There's no girls dancing around or fully sick subwoofers. Just get to the end of the track and set a good time. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 roadkill chickens.
Yeah, I think it would last anyone a long time in multiplayer and single. We should also mention Forza 2 for the tarmac-only loving breed of racer. It's coming out around the same time, and it's just as good. I really like seeing the stats while it was loading, Jung. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10.
When you think of keeping your machine running smoothly, you'll often think about the software or the files on your hard drive. But what you may not realise is that you need to keep the inside of your machine clean as well. The fans in your system drive dust and hair into your machine, and if you let this build up, it can lead to overheating and potential hardware failure. First step is to unplug everything from your PC, including the mains. Then, open up the side of the case. Most case panels are very easy to open these days, so it should be quite an easy job. Next step is to use a vacuum cleaner. Make sure you've got it set on the lowest speed setting. And use it to clean the front air grill and the rear air grill. You can use the blunt end of a pencil or a pen to hold the fans in place as you clean them. Now, for the CPU cooler. CPU cooler is the most important part in your system to keep free of dust, so make sure you clean it carefully. Take a small paintbrush and clean gently around all the fins on the heatsink, as well as the fan to make sure there's no dust in there. You can vacuum the dust up afterwards. Make sure you also clean around the hard drives, graphics card, and the RAM. You can remove grime from the outside of your case using a simple solution of a few drops of vinegar in a glass of water. You can use this to wipe down the case, keyboard, and mouse. Hopefully your computer should be running a lot happier now, and you might have amazed some close relatives with your cleanliness too.
Good game.
Well, it's been 10 years since the first Tomb Raider graced our shelves, and to mark the occasion, IDOS have released Tomb Raider Anniversary on PSP, PS2, and PC.
At the end of 2006, we caught up with Ian Livingstone, who's one of the founders of Games Workshop, who later founded IDOS, who created Lara. He told us about the first time he saw her.
When I went into the rooms, I saw all the various games in development, and the very last room, there she was on screen, this wonderful looking heroine, and I guess you could say it was love at first sight when I first saw Lara Croft, and we bought the company, and the rest of the say is history.
Anniversary is based on the original Tomb Raider using new technology and level design. If you play the original, you'll know you're going to familiar locations such as Greece and Peru. Key elements of the original storyline are present as well.
We've been playing the PS2 version, and I gotta say, it's a bit of a trip down memory lane for me, John. I was a huge fan of the original Tomb Raider, and it's much more playable with the new technology. Lara is back, and she's smoother, shinier, and bouncier than ever.
If you've never played a Tomb Raider before, you're gonna be doing a lot of this.
And you're gonna be making a lot of faces like this. Oh, the statues.
Yeah, Badger, you do that a lot. It's puzzle solving at its finest. There's lots of jumping off of ledges, balancing on poles, shooting massive dinosaurs with tiny pistols, and generally strutting your stuff.
And the inclusion of mini-games in the cutscenes adds a new spice to the game. And I gotta tell you, Jung, from the moment I heard that first wolf howl, it really pulled me in. It's kind of addictive.
Yeah, there's really no defined point where you feel like giving up or taking a break, and except for when you die, the loading is pretty much non-existent.
The usual artifacts and secrets are hidden everywhere, and it can be pretty unforgiving at times if you're trying to judge a particular jump and you keep missing. This one room with the spikes coming in the floor, must have died about 30 times before I finally got past it.
You'll find yourself often going backwards to hit some switches or objects, but the camera's pretty spot on, so it's painless.
And so it should be after 10 years, you know. The PS2 does a good job of handling these lighting and bloom effects. It really pushes the hardware of the unit.
It's easy to tell which objects you can interact with without it being overly obvious. Deep, long maps with no background music create the feeling of being very, very alone.
One of the things I didn't like about the original was the graininess of it. It made it very difficult to judge your jumps and that sort of thing, but it's fixed with the new hardware. Also, there's lots of display options to move your screen with contrast and brightness and power settings, and I think more games need this kind of thing.
There's not a lot of shooting in this one as well, Badge. It's mainly about the puzzles, and even though Lara looks best when she's flipping around and doing dodges and that sort of stuff, it's just not that type of game.
And the enemies that are in it are actually pretty dumb, but still the battles are hectic. I know when that T-Rex came out, I needed to change my pants.
Yep, it's a pretty smooth trip down memory lane. There's been lots of Tomb Raider games. Fans of the series will get a kick out of it. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I haven't played much Tomb Raider since the original, but I still really enjoyed this. No other game has managed to capture the intense joy of climbing over rocks for 4 hours just to get a cog. I dig this game, Jung. 8.5 out of 10.
That was puntastic.
La la la, so you think you can't game.
You know, Jung, we've learnt a lot this season, haven't we?
Yeah, like how to take down General Ram in Gears of War.
Yeah, how to drive a mothership into a base and Command and Conquer 3.
How to tech roll in DOA 4.
How to hit balls properly with Wii tennis.
Well, I've tried to cover lots of different games in my segment, from RTS games and FPS games to adventure and sport. But there's one super special category which I haven't done yet. That's right, it's Desperate Housewives.
When I recall my time on Wisteria Lane, I think mostly of good things.
Desperate Housewives plays like an expansion to The Sims. There's a few mini games like cooking and playing poker, but there's nothing too hard which I really need to give a tip on.
The couch has 2 actions, sit and upgrade. Sit will raise your composure need. Upgrade will allow you to upgrade your couch so that you'll regain composure more quickly while sitting.
However, unlike The Sims, there is an overarching storyline, which begs the question, if there's an overarching storyline, there must be an end. And if there's an end, is there a boss?
Oh, I bet it's like Ganondorf and you take him out with a fishing pole.
Oh, maybe it's Mr. Burns from The Simpsons and he's in his big robot machine.
Unfortunately, it's neither of these things.
Aww.
For those of you who have the game and don't want me to spoil the ending, turn away now. For everybody else, what eventually happens is you end up at your house surrounded by your family, a mafia boss and an FBI agent, and you're holding a gun. Yeah, something along those lines anyway. You get a choice of 4 different endings depending on who you choose to shoot, or you can choose not to shoot anyone at all. So the only real tip that I have for this game is to save the game just before this point so you can try all the endings for yourself.
So let me get this straight. You've played through the entire game?
Nah, I got my sister to play it instead actually.
You should have just asked me.
Well, that's all from me, so until next time, this is Aya, out.
Good game.
We're going from World War II to the present day setting, but we're trying to keep the meat and potatoes of what Call of Duty is, which is a conflict of 2 equal sides in a seesaw battle. You never really know who's going to be coming out on top.
What kind of research do you do in a Call of Duty game to make it authentic? Are any of the new characters in the story based on actual historical figures?
In the past, we've just done volumes of research on people who are no longer alive, or gotten accounts from people that were 60 years removed from the events. And the things that we are able to do today is that we're able to talk to people who have been experiencing modern warfare, you know, as early as, 2 months ago.
We've seen some destructible environments in the trailer. What kind of stuff can you blow up?
The vehicles and A lot of the scenery that you see will be definitely destructible. There'll be portions of walls where you'll be having firefights, but in general, you don't necessarily want the entire environment destructible. If you had everything destructible, you know, there's definitely kind of a system hit that you're going to take, and I think it makes it more realistic to be playing at 60 frames per second and having a portion of the environment, you know, crumble away versus being able to turn everything into like a wasteland.
One of the key things about Call of Duty has been a strong multiplayer element. What's on offer in Call of Duty 4?
We have an experience point system that allows us to ramp up the gameplay for novice players. When they start off, they'll have, you know, 2 competent choices, you know, like an assault rifle, submachine gun, and as they play throughout the, you know, the first week of the game, they'll slowly unlock other weapons, and it'll just allow them to ease them in. For veteran players, they're going to unlock that stuff really quickly. For them, the unlockables are more on the high end. You've got new player textures, weapon textures, titles, gamer tags, and you know, things along those lines, so that when you're playing multiplayer and you see the guy in the badass urban camo with the neat skin on the weapon, and his name's Lieutenant General so-and-so, you're gonna know that's someone you should stay away from.
Call of Duty has a strong competitive community. Are you worried that when the sequel comes out, it may split that community?
There are still aspects that, you know, we kept true from Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2, and we feel that all of those aspects will be brought over to Call of Duty 4, and I think that gamers will not have any problem making that transition.
Ready up. Good game.
Nintendo's strategy of re-releasing games every generation continues to succeed as Mario Strikers Charged Football provides a brief oasis in a dry weed desert. Interestingly, it was made on the same free engine as Stalker, and Next Level Games decided to make it on PAL first, which means us in the UK get to play it before the US and Japan.
Think of a soccer game, and then throw in all of the Mario characters, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Then throw in all the Mario power-ups, like bananas, red shells, and stars. Then add a touch of craziness with giant flying cows and electric force fields. Then you're on your first step to understanding what is Mario Strikers Charged.
Oh yeah, come on!
Goals can be scored in a number of ways, the simplest of which is passing the ball around, which charges it up, making each shot on goal more likely to succeed.
Or you can use your captain's or your psychic special ability.
Captains can also do a Mega Strike. Execution is a simple matter of timing any Nintendo buff will be familiar with, and the defender needs to take on the role of the goalie and block the balls by aiming the Wiimote at the screen.
Mega Strikes take a few seconds to pull off, which leaves you vulnerable.
The defender can also shake the nunchuck, which messes with your power bar.
Strikers Charged also happens to be the very first online Nintendo game.
Yeah, how's that coming along?
Overall, quite good. I guess the main thing is it works. It doesn't really touch Xbox Live as far as presentation goes, and you can only play people with the PAL version.
What about the lag? How's that?
Very playable. You can add your friends, so you're only playing with Aussies, and there's an online ranking system that gets reset each week. There's even a UK competitive league springing up.
Competitive potential can be seen in how you're forced to adapt your style of play according to what captain and sidekicks your opponent chooses. Another good sign is the easy-to-learn, hard-to-master nature of the game, and any time they include an online ranking system, it instantly raises the level of competitive play in any game.
Yeah, although the online ranking system does reward players who play more rather than those who play better.
In addition to its competitive value, it's also very pick up and play at its core, with matches lasting around 5 to 6 minutes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah!
Game modes are very limited, with only multiplayer, career, and a fairly uninteresting challenge mode. It made me wonder, how long will the fun last?
Yeah, there isn't much beyond that little rectangular field.
Mario Strikers is about as much as a soccer game as Mario Kart is a racing game, but it's good shell-shocking fun. I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
Yeah, Nintendo really need to get their act together with bringing games to PAL. There haven't been any Aussie release dates announced for their other big titles, so this may be the best Wii game for a while. That said, it's a good thing it's a lot of fun. I'm giving it 9 rubber chickens.
Good game.
What a sound! What a sound! Don't wanna be a monkey wrench. Dude, you're getting quite not so bad at that now. That's scary. Do you think if you beat the games journals, that we could be the leastest of them all?
My God, man, you're right. World domination could be ours. Ruffle Cup time. Good game, team. Assemble!
Welcome to the House of Pain. It's Guitar Hero Ruffle Cup time as 4 journos battle it out for bragging rights. We have Faldo from Atomic, Junglist from Good Game, Turtle Stack from GameSpot AU, and Chinride from Hyper. Gentlemen, are you ready to rock?
Yeah!
Bad luck, dude. It was pretty close, but...
Thanks, man. I just did it for the majesty of rock.
Turtle Stack, you were crushed. How do you feel?
I just hope one day Axel and, the rest of the Guns N' Roses crew find it in their hearts to forgive me for what I just did to this song. Good match. It's all rock and all good.
Well, Chinride, you didn't win, mate. What do you think went wrong out there?
I just missed a couple of notes that I would usually hit, and I didn't put in 100% like I usually do. But the pressure of the stage got to me, and plus I was playing against a phenomenal player.
All right, Faldo, you've made it to the final round. Are you pumped? Are you excited?
I am, but I've played Jungie before on Expert Monkey Wrench, and that's what we're playing. And I'm a little worried because he beat me last time, but we'll see how this one goes.
It's final time, Faldo versus Junglist. But gentlemen, I think to do a true test of rock and roll ownage, we're gonna need some blindfolds. Let's get it on. blindfolds off. Jungie, nice one. You had him at the start, but Mr. Faldo came through at the end. The Ruffle Cup is yours.
Thank you.
Rock! Faldo, you won. Well done. You won the Ruffle Cup blindfolded. How did you do it?
I'd like to thank the gods of rock. No, Monkey Wrench was one of the first albums that I ever bought. It was off Foo Fighters, Colour and the Shape. Loved it to death, heard it a million times before, and it's a pattern.
How much did you practice this? That's pretty hardcore, man.
Well, I normally do it with my back to the screen, just because I like the challenge.
So when you were playing, did you have any idea if you were winning or if you were losing? Any sort of idea?
I didn't, but I didn't hear a lot of those clinks in the background when you miss a note, so I was reasonably confident.
So when you're blindfolded, how did you know when to use your star power, or was it just random?
Oh, it's not random. It's just a whole streak of notes that I know I can hit without missing any, and then just tilt the guitar before that.
Well, Faldo, congratulations. The Ruffle Cup is yours, and it's well-deserved.
Thank you.
Jung, time for you to drink from the Noob Cup, my friend.
Give it to me.
How does it taste?
Oh, it tastes like defeat.
Well, gamers, could you guess the game for this week?
It was Frontier Elite 2, the sequel to David Braben's Elite Space Sim. This was a game that literally went on forever. You had a whole galaxy to explore, asteroids to mine, space pirates to fight, and illegal trades to make. Had a pretty cool intro sequence, too.
Space pirates are cool. Plenty of time to practice your fretwork now, Jung, as this brings us to the end of this series of Good Game.
That's right, next week we'll be showing some of the choicest moments from this series, so get on the forums and vote for which segment you'd like to see again.
G'day, boys.
Hey, what's happening, huh?
Oh, not much. I only have in my hands an invitation to E3, the biggest gaming event in the world. The trouble is, though, they're being really strict on numbers this year, and we only have one invitation, which means only one of you guys can go.
Oh, me!
Me! Wait, let's settle this the Good Game way.
Ruffle Cup time! Well, I tried to pick games that Jung probably hasn't played or hasn't played much of, and that I played a lot of.
Yeah, Mean Bunny.
That's how I'm gonna beat that, yeah.
So join us next time where we'll see the best bits of Good Game from this year, as well as see Jung and Badger duke it out in the Ruffle Cup for a chance to go to E3 in California next month. Until then, this is Aya, out.